Dear students, today we shall discuss another important act or concept in IRL, that is trade union or trade unions. So, in this class we will be discussing about the introduction to trade unions, its definition, objective of trade unions, functions of trade unions, reasons for joining trade unions and Trade Union Act of 1926 and the legal framework associated with that, union problems and conclusion. Now coming to its introduction. So before we proceed to what the trade union is or what are its objectives, let us understand about trade union. So the main elements in the development of trade unions of workers is in every country have been more or less the same. So that is setting up of large scale industrial units created conditions of widespread use of machinery, new lines of production and brought about changes in working and living environment of workers and concentration of industries in large towns. So that is because of the introduction of globalization, liberalization and privatization, and again due to the effect of industrial revolution, today we could see the emergence of many industries and factories in all the parts of globe or in every country. So this has created the necessity for the development of industries and again demand for the workers to work in such industries or factories. So when such a lot number of workers are working, then an association in the form of an union is very important in order to protect their interest and to again fight against any kind of the deviations or issues that they have to face from the employers or against the capitalists, like that. So because of that interest and idea, the act has been introduced. It was the labor protest on an organized scale through the support of some philanthropic personalities that organized labor unions came to be formed. So because of the interest of some philanthropies, where they demanded for the introduction of trade unions in every industry or in every factory. Now let us understand the definition of trade union. Trade union in an association, it is an association either of employees or employers or of independent workers. It is a relatively permanent formation of workers and it is not a temporary or casual combination of workers. It is formed for securing certain economic, social benefits to members, and collective strength offers a sort of insurance cover to members to fight against irrational, arbitrary or the illegal actions of employers. So the members can share their feelings, exchange notes and fight the employer quite effectively whenever he goes off the track. So with this interest, the trade union has been introduced. And coming to its history, there are some 164 million trade union members worldwide, making the trade union the world's largest social movement by far. That is, even so, it represents little more than 1 in 20 of the world's 3 billion plus workers. The rest often go unrepresented. In India, the trade union movement is generally divided on political lines, that is, according to provisional statistics from the Ministry of Labour, trade unions had a combined membership of 24,601, 24 lakh 60,589 in 2002, but as of now, in 2008, there are 11 central trade union organizations which is being called by different names. And like the such trade unions which we have across India has been given here. So among the top, the All India Union Congress, that we call as AITUC, and Bharatiya Mazdoor Sabha, BMS, like that many trade unions have been formed at the central level. Like that, even we have many such unions at the state levels also. Now let us understand the objectives of trade unions. The objectives include this union is to protect the interest of the workers with their wages or salaries, then to improve their working conditions and any issues that arise due to discipline or disciplinary uh, things and personal policies, and any issues with respect to welfare, then employee employer relations to build a good relationship between employee and employer. So this plays an important role, and negotiating machinery and safeguarding organizational health and interest of the industry. Now let us understand the important functions of trade unions. The important functions or roles of trade unions include, where we see the role of trade union with respect to its functions like militant function. So where it has different objectives. The objectives like this is required to achieve higher wages and better working conditions, and to raise the status of workers as a part of industry, and also to protect laborers against victimization and injustice. And again they are known to perform the fraternal functions like to take up welfare measures for improving the morale of workers and to generate self confidence among workers, to encourage sincerity and discipline among workers, to provide opportunities for promotion and growth, to protect women workers against discrimination. And the other roles include greater bargaining power, minimize discrimination, sense of security, sense of participation, sense of belongingness, platform for self expression, betterment of relationships, like that. Again, in spite of all these benefits and objectives, such unions are facing certain problems, like they have the problem with respect to leadership, and sometimes we see multiple unions in an organization, and union rivalry, the rivalry that exists among the workers, or there might be many unions among them itself, so that also leads to some problems. The other problems include maybe due to the type of workers and their status, like their education level of education, that is illiteracy, then uneven growth among themselves, then low membership, then heterogeneous nature of them, then lack of interest and absence of paid office bearers. So this, that is very important. And so now let us understand the role of trade union and its importance. So here with this discussion we can say that the emergence of trade union to an extent helped to improve the standard of living of workers, but it is fact that trade unions nowadays downsized as a toy or instrument of various political parties, which force them to regret its moral values. So with respect to this, again we can go through different examples, like the union issues that we come across. Maybe the one good example is union issue of Manesar plant, that is of Maruti Suzuki. Then like that today, a number of such union issues daily will be seeing. And now let us understand why these employees or workers they have to join unions. So this is, as we discussed, to protect their against exploitation and any kind of dissatisfaction they have, so that they can express freely with their union members or with their representatives or leaders, so that the same can be conveyed to the employers, or that can be resolved by the help of the members or the union leader. And due to lack of power, because the lack of power they have, so because of that, and union instrumentality, so sometimes that will be used for by others, like some political parties, for other purposes. And now let us understand the factors leading to unionization. The reasons for unionization of the workers in factories are due to their personality, their interest and preferences, then their expectations that work will fulfill personality and the work situations, then suppose if they have any dissatisfaction with work, and the unionization. So these may force or create a necessity to create an union or to join the union. So again, sometimes they will be having some choices for creation of union. So that is because it is considered as bread and butter versus political objectives. So how they will be utilizing the such unions for other reasons, for their benefits, and adversarial versus corporative role, and traditional issues versus new services. So here we have certain approaches that has to be followed by such unions. Sometimes no, so many industries or factories, they don't have the unions, so they are union free. The reason is maybe because of the effective first line supervisors. Without giving scope for the unions, the management itself is managing everything, that is where it is supporting or it is supportive to the workers in many ways. If such thing is there or such environment exists, then definitely there is no need for the union to be exist. And suppose if any organization has an open communication and it has an effective remuneration and effective personal research looking at their the satisfaction level or their conditions, the management should be good enough in taking certain measures so that any issues can be sorted there then and there itself, and healthy and safe work environment and effective employer and employee relationships. So such conditions definitely will lead to will make an union free atmosphere. So this also, any measure or interest can be taken in this regard to avoid the unions, creation of unions. Now let us understand certain HR practices and unions, how these HR practices are related to the unions, existence of unions. The HR practices they negate the existence of unions because of the following reasons. That is, HR seeks employee relationships on individual basis, that is pay and performance, and HR attempts for socialization of workforce, means harmony amongst workers and between management and workers. They emphasize authority of management. Training programs attempts to bring loyalty and pro management attitude, and team based work environment, merit based selection and promotion. So these are the different aspects associated with the trade unions. Now let us understand another important concept associated with these unions, trade unions, where we could see again unions play an important role in avoiding the disputes. So with that interest, Industrial Dispute Act has been introduced in 1947. So the objective of that is again to reduce any disputes or dissatisfaction the workers have and the issues that arise due to such disputes. Now let us understand the meaning of industrial dispute. That usually any dissatisfaction or disputes of high level will have its influence no on in different forms, maybe as strikes or lockouts. To avoid such strikes and lockouts, different measures has to be taken. So that we will be discussing under industrial dispute. Now let us understand what it is. According to Industrial Dispute Act of 1947, the term industrial dispute means any dispute or difference between employers and employees, or between employers and workmen, or between workmen and workmen among themselves, which is connected with the employment or non-employment, or the terms of employment, or with the conditions of labor of any person. So if any dispute that arises among such people, that we call as industrial disputes, dispute related to work. And the objectives of that include, this is required to provide suitable machinery for the just, equitable and peaceful settlement of industrial disputes, and to promote measures for securing and preserving amenity and good relations between employers and employees, and to prevent illegal strikes and lockouts, to provide relief to workers against layoffs, retrenchment, wrongful dismissal and victimization, and to promote collective bargaining, and to ameliorate the conditions of workers, that is to improve the conditions of workers. And the reasons and causes for industrial disputes that we know, that is demand for higher wages and allowances. Usually the work related aspects forms the reasons for the industrial disputes. And here to resolve such disputes, usually the organizations, they take different measures as methods of settlement of disputes, like conciliation, arbitration and adjudication. So again, this about these three we had discussed in the first unit itself. So these forms the important measures, when we discuss about parties to IR as employees, employers, unions and government, and such arbitraries or court of law. Conciliation is a practice by which the services of a neutral party are used in a dispute as a means of helping the dispute parties to reduce the extent of their differences and to arrive at an amicable settlement of agreed solution. So where it offers some mutual settlement among the two individuals or two groups. So such an association or the effort of the committee we call as conciliation. And so this usually will be formed by the organization or the representatives of the industry. They form a committee. And likewise we have arbitration. Then again we have different types of arbitrations, maybe a voluntary arbitration or compulsory arbitration. And adjudication, it is legally some remedy will be sought for the settlement of the dispute. So that usually happens in the court of law by filing a case against the maybe the party or parties or group or an individual. So like such as labor court, industrial tribunal and national tribunal. So these are the different issues associated with the union and also the disputes that we discuss under Industrial Disputes Act. Thank you.